And happy Tuesday, everybody. It's Tim Shaw coming to you directly from the Black Cat Lounge, otherwise known as my basement. Yes, you people, you're sitting around, you're wondering to yourselves, this $1 billion operation that we got going on here, no, we're in my basement. It's where the elite meet, next to the transfer station. Hello, everybody. Kenneth is on. Chris is on. I love you guys. Good to see you, everybody that's on. And I got to tell you guys, it's been an interesting, I will say, an interesting week. Now, last week we took a skip because of the fact that I went down to Kane, Pennsylvania, visited my relatives. I shouldn't say visited my relatives. I visited my great grandfather's grave, and he was a Civil War veteran. So obviously he's dead. So I was down there visiting a lot of dead people. But it was a lot of fun to do, and I wasn't quite sure if I was going to make it back. That's why we really didn't have a show last week. So Christopher Forsythe is here. I'm going to salute you, sir, because why? I can. And oh, hey, Ann, how are you? Rhonda's in the room. How are you guys? Chris, the man Cheeslaw, is in the room. I love when I see all my friends coming in. Wendy is here. Oh, our guest is big trouble. Even my baby sister Marla Brooks is in the room, all the way from the West Coast, where people are, well, you know how it is. Debbie's in the room. How are you doing? But anyway, we were busy. I was doing a lot of running around last week, and I got to tell you, you guys know I volunteer up at the Hull House, so I have been shoveling dirt. Yes, I have. Hi, Heidi. How are you? It's one of those things where I do. This is a brain trust, but really, in all honesty, I shovel dirt. This is what I like to do. So I was out there volunteering when I was out there. And Saturday, hi Peg, and Saturday, hey Mary, and Saturday night, I got invited to go out to the Hull House, go back to the house, and we did an investigation. So it was nice. It was a quiet night. Some stuff happened. Nothing like really like earth shattering that can happen there. But the gang wanted to play with scrying, and they wanted to work with what's it called? I shouldn't say what's it called. Black mirrors, because I make black mirrors. Hey, how are you, Ash? How are you up in Ontario? Good to see you. And I went and I'm kind of teaching people how to do it properly. So we were in the old Victorian house, which is on the property, and then we went back to the 1810 house, the brick house that's there. And we went into one of the bedrooms, the Hull House bedroom, and they were working with it. And I've set up my REM pod, or I should say it wasn't a REM pod, it was a millimeter REM. And we were working with it. And all of a sudden, as it got real dicey, I'm going to just say dicey because the atmosphere changes. And when you feel that atmosphere starting to change, it's like barometric pressure starting to go up and down, the REM pod went off. I mean, the millimeter REM on there, it just went off. And it went off for quite a while, like something was standing right there. And at that point, whoever, I can't remember who was looking into the black mirror, was actually getting sucked, their attention was getting suckered into the black mirror. And their face, they were describing as disappearing, and then something else was in there. So that was really an interesting evening. Plus, there was some footsteps that were going on that all of us could hear. So it was a nice evening. We got a chance to go and just relax and get out there and work. And then, of course, Monday came and I was shoveling dirt. And I've only got one pile. We only got one pile left of dirt to shovel. And of course, yours truly is out there with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. And I'm doing what I do. Because why? It's the Black Cat. Wait, hey, Aaron, how are you? Kathy's in the room. How are you guys? You guys are great. Rebecca is in the room. How are you? Oh, and something else I got a chance to teach. Andrea's in the room. I got a chance to teach seance. I love teaching seance. I don't get a chance to teach it that often. And, we're sold out. I'm going to teach it up at the Michigan Paracon up at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan in August. And I know it's already sold out. I think it's got like 73 people. But anybody that wants to go in there, just contact Brad and tell them, I really want to do this. So contact Brad, and we're going to I'm sure they'll make arrangements for you to come in. But it was neat because I got to tell you what was so neat about it. So everybody's got their hands on the table, and I thought to myself, wait a minute. Why don't I let somebody else lead the seance? Right, Mary? Mary's in the room, and I was whispering in her ear what she should say, and I got to get her some. I got the instructions. I'll send you the cliff notes on it. That table took off, knocked everything off the table. It was bouncing away and moving and bouncing and bouncing, and we were trying to get it to like bounce out, like wrap out like yes or no answers, like first steps into communication, and it was just too active. It was too active, and it was neat because of the fact that everybody there, it's like a little mediumship circle. So everybody there's a medium, and they all work together. And it was amazing because it was like real strong, and people were just like, "Oh my God!" And they're like, the energy just got so crazy. So I got a chance to do that. I love to be able to do stuff like that, and you get a chance to really teach. And the only thing I didn't bring a Ouija board because sometimes you can use a Ouija board. A lot of people, seances are one of the. I do like a seance that's like a little bit more of the post-Victorian vein. But I mean, you can so long as you do the basics, you can introduce different tools or whatever you want to use. And you can actually use a Ouija board if you want. But I didn't bring one because why? Because I'm going to be teaching the Ouija board to this class. It's going to be great. And Chris, we did the time before I was there, I actually taught him table tipping. So it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. So we're going to have, we're going to be looking forward to that stuff. And, who knows what we're going to bring in? Zozo, who knows? I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time. Every time I turn around, Zozo comes in when I'm on the Ouija board. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you about me? But anyway, it's great. And it was just so much fun. And our guest and I tonight, we're talking about volunteering and how fulfilling it is and how it helps you. And you really get a great feel for doing it. And I think that more people need to fill their time up with a little bit of volunteer work. And as everybody knows, unfortunately, where I was volunteering up at Lockport Cable, I mean, they won't allow volunteers in there for and I used to work on almost all of their non-for-profits. And I it's just, I miss it. I do miss it. So now we're going to go and I'm working up at the Hull House. And by the way, I'm just going to let you guys know, and a little hint here, I've got drop front trousers. Oh yeah. Yes. Wait a minute. I'm going to project it out there. I want everybody to think of me in drop front trousers. Yes, it is scary, people. It is scary. Anyway, let's bring our guest on today. And you know what? I am so thrilled because he represents one of my favorite locations. And I say, I tell a lot of people that, I have a lot of favorite locations, but this is really one that was for the books. And it was crazy. When I was up there, I forget, 2 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. My God, I can't remember. It comes with age. It was a peak experience. I'm going to tell everybody right now, it was a peak experience. And we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk about not just the hauntings. And our guest has got, here's the way that old sailors talk about hauntings. They're true. They're almost true. They're kind of true, and they're not true at all. But they also have another swabby right behind them saying it's true. That's the way it works. So without further ado, I want to bring my good friend. He just says he's just a plain docent on the ship, and he's more than that. He really is one of the caretakers. He really takes pride in that ship. He really takes the time to listen to everybody's stories, especially the other veterans that have come on board this ship, and share these stories with them. And he's really more than what a lot of people He's just not a volunteer. You know what? He should have a big S on his chest for an SV, super volunteer. That's what we're going to call him. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, wait a minute. We have to do it properly. Let's do it properly. Ahoy, mateys! You on the USS Edson. Permission to send Bill Randall on board because he ate up all the cake on this ship. Permission is granted. Welcome, Bill Randall. Hey, Bill,
you,
how are you?
Thank you very much, Tim. It's good to see you.
I bet you don't get that kind of a response,
no,
that kind of welcome just anywhere, you know.
No, I can't get my hat off now. Yeah, you were right, though, Tim. It was 2 years ago that you were there.
Wow, it's amazing.
I know,
you know how time flies.
Yeah,
and it is an amazing. I cannot tell all of you guys in the listenership what a phenomenal ship this is. It's the USS Edson is. It's a gem. It really is a gem, and it's in Bay City, Michigan. And it was really so great that you guys brought me in to do the little thing. But you know what was even better? They put me in the XO's cabin. I got to sleep in virtual luxury. I almost virtual luxury. I would say it was like, you know how some people go to the big Sheraton Four Seasons, and some people go to those unbelievable B&Bs. This is like going to the best Motel 6 in the world. But it was great. I absolutely loved it. So Bill, how you doing? It's so great for you to be on.
I'm doing great, Tim. It's fantastic. I've been working my butt off now since we've opened up, and it's just a nonstop thing, as you can imagine, just taking care of her. So I'm there usually every single day.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. You know what? Again, you know what? I love the fact that you're a volunteer up there, and volunteerism is, people miss the whole point of volunteerism. Because everybody automatically thinks that they should be doing something that they don't like.
Right.
And
yes.
In order to really keep it up, you should always do something that you love.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Oh man, with you love that place. It is.
Well, great. there's only a million things to do there, Tim, because there's only just a handful of us now taking care of her. So there's always something to do.
Oh my, I can't even imagine. Well, you know what? For everybody that doesn't know about the USS Edson, even though I talk about it constantly, which is like, because I've had one of my best experiences, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Tell everybody a little bit more about the Edson, when it was commissioned, what it did. And I know it went through active service, and there's so many things to talk about it. And that's why I'm so thrilled you came on.
Well, that's it. It's a Vietnam era destroyer. And it was commissioned in 1958 and decommissioned in 1988. So I had a 30-year career, which is about average for some of these ships. But while it was in Vietnam, she did 12 tours over there.
Wow.
And it was supplying ground support for the troops inland. And while her time was there running what they call the gun line up the coast of North Vietnam, they had Marine spotters inland, and they were spotting targets for the ship. And they were firing inland. And they had, in the time that they were there, they fired over 28,000 rounds into Vietnam. That's over 1 million pounds of high explosives. So she has seen a lot of combat. And there's been a lot of people that have been on board and off board that ship in her 30-year career. And you just get this sensation when you walk on board the ship that you can feel this vibe, basically, of what some of these things that this ship has gone through. And if she could talk to you, she would have some amazing stories. So I love showing her off. And I've taken myself probably thousands and thousands of people through this thing. And I can give a tour. I get chewed on the office about this a lot of times. And I think Chris Forsythe can vouch for me. I can give a tour from 5 minutes to 4 hours, depending on how many questions there are or how much bull I want to talk. But that has happened.
Well, when we were talking about the sea stories, Chris is the guy behind you swearing to everything that you lie about.
I know.
That's what's so great about Chris. Because you could turn around and say,
Yeah.
What? Shore leave? We didn't go anywhere in
Yeah.
shore leave. No.
Yeah.
I went to a Bible
That's
meeting,
right.
and then I
Yeah.
went to McDonald's and came straight back. And
I
Chris
did.
would be going like this.
I was always in the chapel with the the chaplain, always. Well, Chris is my partner in crime. And when him and I get together and start talking sea stories, this guy's the limit. So yeah, it's fun. We have a good time over there.
Now, when they decommission a ship, I mean, what's the process like? What do they do? Because I know that I remember going to see the mothball fleet down at the time it was in South Carolina. I'm not sure they moved it now. So what do they do when they decommission a ship?
What they do is they what's called demilitarizing the ship, and they take certain parts of the ship away that can no longer be usable, such as some parts of the engines they take out to make sure the ship will never run again. The big guns that are on board, they've taken parts of those off to make sure they don't fire, because Homeland Security, they'd probably be real interested in that. But they break a lot of gauges, and they take some of the most important radar stuff out to make sure that it is basically unusable by anybody else.
And I can imagine there's definitely reasons why. Now, I got to ask you now, this is the historian volunteer kind of guy in me.
All right.
What's the biggest challenge of interpreting that ship and keeping it as, I guess, its integrity intact when you show it off? What's the biggest challenge that you come to face? Now, everybody can have stories and everything, but I mean, it's all hands-on work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny, Tim, because when sometimes you take people through there and they get a whole different idea by the time they're done of what it takes to be in the military, period. A lot of people think that, you're a sailor, you must just sit out on deck and fish all day. And that's just not the case. But by the time we're done, they have a whole different appreciation what it takes for a young man to do this kind of work, because it is a lot of work.
And I'm going to tell everybody right now, not only does you have to be a young man, but you have to be a skinny young man, because here's Bill. Oh, you guys you want to take a look down here?
Go down here. Yeah.
I opened his hatch, and I'm lucky. I mean, I couldn't put my head through it, and they're running up and down the ladders, and I'm going, dear,
say, we're gonna need some Crisco here or something rather.
Well, I need more than Crisco to get my fat butt up and down that ladder. Let me tell you.
Well, you got to think, Tim, when the ship is active, most of the people on that ship are about 19 years old.
Right.
We're just kids out of high school. True. Yeah. Yep. So we're all skinny kids.
That's amazing. And Mandy Bauer she's saying hello from Australia.
Okay. Hi, Mandy.
And
good to see you.
It's so nice that she goes and she wakes up in the morning and she turns us on, which is like
I know,
great.
Yes, but I have a friend that lives in Australia, and I can't wrap my mind around that it's already tomorrow there.
I know. Well, hey, listen, you and I are at that age we don't wrap our minds around a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We just take it as it is, I guess. Yeah, don't question it. Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's another question that I really think about. Now, this is what class destroyer is this?
This is a Forrest Sherman class destroyer.
Okay, how many sailors would it take to actually man this?
They would have normally about 240 enlisted men and about 17 officers. So there's close to 300 people on board.
Wow. Yeah, and let me tell you, I think we had 25 people and it was getting crowded.
Yeah. Well, the body heat was, body heat was getting pretty intense, I'm sure. Just being down there. Yeah. But it would take to operate the ship, it would take at least a third of those people at any given time to operate the ship.
Wow, that's amazing. That's just amazing. Yep. Now, the ship itself, when it was decommissioned, where did it end up? Because I know, like, a lot of times they like with the Great Lakes, like with us, and I know they had to come through, they had to follow the Great Lakes to get to you guys.
Yes.
They have to tug these in, don't they? I mean,
It did, yeah. As a matter of fact, it was sitting in Philadelphia in a mothball fleet there. And after Vietnam, after the war, they had transferred that ship over to the East Coast to Providence, Rhode Island, and it became a training vessel for Navy reservists. After that was done, it became a museum ship in New York City for 13 years. And it was part of the Intrepid Airspace Museum. And the Intrepid is an aircraft carrier. And so a lot of the attention and most of the money, financial stuff, went to that aircraft carrier. So eventually, that museum got rid of the Edson, and
Right.
they put it in Philadelphia in a mothball fleet, scheduled to be scrapped out. So that's what they do when they go to a mothball fleet like that, and that's where we got it. We towed it up to Bay City, up to St. Lawrence Seaway. There are 2 tugboats out of Tampa, Florida. And when they got there, we wrote a check for $750,000 just to get it there.
Wow,
So it was years in making just to get it there.
I can't even imagine, because it's when I think about it, when it takes the effort, the monumental effort to get it into a position where you can have this type of a museum. Yeah. Is got to be incredible. It's got to be incredible. What did you guys do to raise the money? Was that something that was an allotment, or did you guys? Well, was there a lot of spaghetti dinners involved in this?
There you go, buddy. There was a lot of spaghetti dinners. I tell you what, I don't ever want to eat spaghetti again. I know that. But there was that, and there was grants, and there was some corporate donations and stuff like that. Because even the land that ship sits next to in the river. Right. It belongs to Dow Chemical, and they have leased that area to us for $1 a year for the next 100 years. So if it wasn't for people like that, this just wouldn't happen.
That is great. That is great. Yeah. Now we're going to talk a little bit about its role on the Twilight Zone, a Twilight Zone episode, which I actually had to go and look up. I'm going to be honest with you. I went and I watched it, and we're going to talk about that and some of the paranormal stuff that goes on there. But we're going to take a little break to pay some bills. And the reason why we're doing that, Bill, is because why? We can. Anyway, you're listening to the Black Cat Lounge. I'm Tim Shaw, and we're going to be back after this really quick break. The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, The Little Store with the Big Heart, Buffalo Phantom Hunters, Patronus Photographic for all of your photography and design needs, Nancy's Sewing Room, masks, aprons, purses, and more, and Wild Raven Candles for those magical times. And we're back. You're listening to the Black Cat Lounge, and my guest today is the one and only, the fabulous, the iridescent, the effervescent. May I say that he is just like a font of knowledge. He and I are actually just fonts. If you look at us quickly, you'll see things coming out of our heads. I'm not sure. He's got to wear a hat today because he's keeping it all in because we have to talk about him. But anyway, we're back on with Bill Randall. Listen, Bill. I don't say that just for anybody, you know.
I know. I understand that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's too funny. Now, let's get to. Well, first of all, let's get to how it got involved with filming of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Well, the ship was it was home ported out in Long Beach, California. And back in the 60s, early 60s, there used to be, the Twilight Zone used to be on TV. Mm-hmm. And it was a black and white show. And they filmed an episode of the Twilight Zone on the Edson in 1963. And the name of it is called the 30 Fathom Grave. And Bill Bixby, who used to play the Hulk, he's in this episode, and he looks like he's about 21 years old. But when you tour the ship, if you see the episode, you can see around the ship where they filmed that at. And half of that show is actually filmed in sickbay, in the doctor's office. And if you see it, you won't hardly believe it, because the doctor's office is pretty small. And back then, the cameras were massive. So I can't imagine where they put that camera at. But yeah, it used to be on YouTube, Tim. I don't know if it still is or not.
That's where I saw it. That's actually where I saw it.
Yeah. But it's a pretty cool story.
I love it because of the fact, it's so. I guess the best way to describe the Edson, it's multi-purpose. It's sort of like it breathes new life every year with every generation that comes through it, and it seems to be able to go and through the events that you guys have there, and the renown that was on TV, and now with the paranormal stuff that's going on, it seems to always get a brand new lease on life, and that's what's so important. People don't realize that these historic sites, they have to keep constantly reinventing themselves in order to bring in people, and that's what's so neat about it. Now, Bill.
I know where you're going.
You know right where I'm going for this one.
I know where you're going.
Bill, Bill, my good friend Bill.
Yeah, yes, Tim.
So my friends invite me to do a gig on the Edson, right? So I'm not I'm thinking to myself, here we go again.
Here's another
I'm
spot.
going there and we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
So we go there, and I know it. I talked about haunted stuff. That's what it was. I talked about haunted haunted items. I brought a Foot Locker, which was a lot of fun getting it over the bridge.
Yeah.
So what do you have to declare?
Keep
going. Yeah,
keep going. Yeah, we don't want to know you.
You're not right. Just keep
exactly.
going.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and now where were we all jammed into first?
We had gone up into I believe it was the 9/11 room, if I remember right. Or maybe it was the bosun's locker, because
it was the locker. It was the locker, because it was
small.
It was small. It was hot. I remember like standing in there thinking to myself, "Oh my God, am I like back at Fort Mifflin, which is below sea level in June, filming? You know, and the sweat just comes out."
Oh, it was hot.
So we went into the 9/11 room. We'll talk about that. Because it played an important part in 9/11, and everybody was doing one of these. It was hysterical. And we're kind of sitting around, and everybody's got their little things, and they're like, they're looking at it,
That's right. Yeah.
I will never forget this, Bill, for as long as I live. And I tell this story. I must tell this story once a week to somebody that's not heard it. I can't remember if I was sitting or standing. I think I was sitting. And I got that ick feeling where something was looking at me, or somebody's looking at me.
Right.
So I'm like looking around, and everybody's down like this, and I just turn my head, and I see in this hatchway, I think that's what you call them, hatchways, because I am not a naval person at all.
That's where it is. Yep.
Chuck is here. Chuck, hello, Sergeant Chuck.
Semper Fi there, Chuck.
Chuck is here, baby. And so I'm sitting there, and something is looking. I just know something's looking. And now poor Bill is behind me. I think Chris, my friend Chris and Bill are like standing behind me.
Yeah.
I just looked, and in this hatchway was like the outline of a man, but his head was like white and over pixelated. It was, I'm like this going. And before the show, Bill and I were talking about this. And I'm very suspicious of people that go and say, "Oh, I've seen 30, 40 full body manifestations in over 40 since 1972. I think I've seen 5."
Yeah.
This thing looked like it was on roller skates. It just went real slowly, turned, and went into the darkness. At that point, I remember jumping up, and I don't even know how. I must have took 6-foot strides. Poor Bill is standing there as this bald fat man goes running by him, almost knocks him over. And I got over I always remember I leapt over the knee knocker, landed on my bad knee, my bad leg with the knee. And all I went was, and I hit the walls like boom, oh, boom. Yeah. That's all I heard is boom, oh, boom. I looked up, and I saw it at the end of the hall, and it just went again, real like it was on a roller skates, and went down. And I got there, and there's no way there was a hatch, or there was a gangway going up, a stairway going up, and I went into another berth. And I always remember, if it had gone up those stairs, I would have seen it. I was there that quick. Yeah. No. And I ran into the berth, and there was nobody there. I go back, and everybody's going, "You okay?" People thought I got sick, so I was going up to throw up or something. I don't know. Hey, listen. I was in a gig. You never know what you eat in these places.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was like, that blew my mind. That totally blew my mind, because I had seen in the past, little things, and flashes. I've never seen one stay like that in that position long enough for me to actually get this pea brain going, where I went and like, I know what it is. And I kept going. That was amazing. That was amazing. It was I came back and I'm like,
yeah.
and everybody's like this.
What the hell? Yeah. Well, I think when you came back, I think I was going like this.
I'm sorry. I feel so bad. I ran. Yeah, I did hit you, didn't I? As I went by, I ran.
Yeah.
I
I believe that Ann and Adam also seen it, and Chris was standing right next to me. Yeah, he was there too. But there was a pretty good sized group of us in there.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
I never expected it either. I never ever did.
I think that's when you see something is when you just like whatever, because I'm one of these people that a ghost has got to come up and like slap me across the face for me to get excited. I was so blown away by that. And then of course at night, I think I said to you, I asked you guys the next day, did you have anybody on fire watch?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean you don't have anybody? Come on. You got to have. I heard somebody walking by my cabin like 4 times, like jingling keys.
Yes.
And I'm like, come on. And we don't have anybody on. I'm like,
no, Tim, that happens all the time. I think it was like Chris Forsythe told you that to us, that's just a Tuesday. It happens. We have many people spend a night, and many people say they hear that, or they hear somebody walking on the deck that's right above them, and there's nobody there. But that happens a lot.
I'll tell you what, that was to me, that was just amazing because of the fact it was just.
That was the best. That was absolutely the best I've ever seen. Yeah, that was fantastic.
I sat there just the rest of the night. I was just goo. What? I was just goo the rest of the night because I just couldn't believe it. Now, was that night? Now, did we ever identify who that might have been?
Yeah, we thought maybe it was Paul, and Paul is our resident ghost. Now, for you people that don't know about Paul, we had found out about him a few years back, and Paul was a guy. He was, when the ship was a museum ship in New York City for 13 years. Paul was the caretaker of the ship. And he actually lived on board the ship in one of the officers' staterooms. So he was always there. He loved the ship so much that he actually lived on it. And Paul died of a heart attack on the ship. It was in 1999, as a matter of fact. And it was Thanksgiving Day. He died of a heart attack on the ship. And after Tim had seen this apparition, I could get on the internet and I can get a picture of the guy. His name is Paul Spampanato. And he said, that's the guy that I saw standing in the door, looking through the door. And every now and then we'll bump into him. Paul, he's kind of a real prankster. He's not threatening in any way. He's like more of a prankster than anything else, but you never know when you're going to bump into Paul. Sometimes he'll say something. He likes to move things around a lot. So if you're in some certain passageway or whatever by yourself and you feel someone tap you on the shoulder, that's typically who it is. So we bump into him a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm telling you, Bill. Really, I've done hundreds of these things, and very seldom am I ever at a loss for words. I was at a loss for words.
That's what made it so great. Was. That's why it was so great, Tim, because you were at a loss for words. Yeah,
it was an amazing experience. But you know what else we did is I was teaching everybody how to use a Ouija board, because why? As everybody knows that has watched that actually saw the last episode of Portals to Hell on Discovery Plus with Katrina Weidman and Jack Osborne, I go nowhere without a Ouija board. Right. And of course, on the USS Edson, it was no different. And it was great because we were at, actually same board, but we had different partners, and we were really getting some great responses.
Yes.
And I remember you were like fascinated. You were kind of fascinated by it.
I never seen it before, Tim. I mean, I've seen it before, but not like I've seen it with you, so yeah, it was fascinating.
So you can show everybody what I left behind.
Okay, gang. Now, I don't know if I'm going to auction this off, but this has only been used by the magnificent Tim Shaw. So it still has his fingerprints on this thing. But I was lucky enough that he actually gave it to me after the session because the session was unbelievable.
Oh my God, that was so. But that was a lot of fun. That was actually just a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah.
And I've definitely got to. I'm going to try to come up. It's just it's such a beautiful, beautiful ship, and I love it so much. What else have you run into up there? Because I remember you telling me that there's a couple places that you walk into forward and then you kind of back out.
Yeah. There is. Well, there's some places that, as you know, when you walk into some certain rooms, there's like a lack of air, or there's an energy that you can feel. And sometimes you can walk into a dark room and you can feel like someone's standing over in the corner watching you. And one time, for instance, myself and another volunteer were in there, and we opened up a door, and it goes to what's called the carrier room, which is the loader for one of the big guns up above it. And it was in an August day. It was very, very, very hot in there, very still, very stagnant. And we opened up the door to this carrier room, and it seemed like there was air conditioning on in there, and it basically come out this door and just come right through with both of us. And we kind of look at each other like, what the hell was that? But there are things that happen like that. You can just kind of sense things like that. Sometimes you get nothing. Sometimes it's really, really weird. So it's like Tim says, at the right place, at the right time.
And the right person.
And the right person.
And the right person.
Yeah.
Peg Herman has a question here. Have you ever walked into cold spots?
Yes. Well, that's what I say. There are some up in the bosun's locker, Peg, which is a small room way up in front of the ship, is below decks. And it's what they used to keep. They used to store paint and stuff like that in there. And the night that we were in there, as a matter of fact, that we found out about Paul, the very first time that we heard about him, there was 7 of us in that room. And at the time, there was the MPI group was up there, and they had invited people to spend the night with them. And I usually went back there about 9:30 at night to make sure no one's falling down a hole, because the whole ship is basically open, and just about everything in there will kill you. So I went back, and some of the people asked me how far forward and below decks you can get. So I took them up there, and my wife was with me, as a matter of fact. And at the time, there was no power up there, so there's no lights. So there were 7 of us standing in this room, and all we had was the flashlights on our phone. And there was myself and my wife, another man and his wife, a young man and his girlfriend. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but there was a lady from England. I think her name was Angela. I don't remember. So there's 7 of us standing in there. And the one lady she had was called a spirit box. And I'd never even heard of a spirit box. She said, "Do you mind if I turn this on?" I said, "No." I said, "Go ahead and turn it on." And she did. She set it down on the shelf. And actually, you can hear the hissing of it and the static going through it. And all of a sudden, I look at this Angela, and she has goosebumps all over her arm, and her hair is standing up on her arms. And I thought, what's going on over here? And she says, the temperature all of a sudden starts to drop in this little room. It was very, very warm, but you can feel a difference in the temperature coming down. And this Angela says, Andrea, okay, that's right. Thanks, Wayne. She says, is there somebody here with us? And through this spirit box, we all hear, yes. It was staticky, kind of garbled. We kind of look at each other like, did you actually hear that? And Andrea, she says, well, can you tell us your name? And we hear the name Paul. And the name came through very, very clear and very distinct. It was very, I mean, we heard it like it was standing next to us. And Andrea says, Paul, can you tell us when you passed away? And the only thing we heard on this thing was the number 9. And we heard that. And there were some other things that were on it that were rather garbled. You couldn't make it out. But that night, we told the MPI gang what we had witnessed, and they made note of it. And this was on a Saturday night. And Sunday morning, I'm down in the office at the ship, and I was telling one of our other volunteers about what had happened. And at that time, she gets on her phone. If you can do this, you get on your phone on Google and do a search for Paul, USS Edson, and you'll see a very large write-up about Paul, who was the caretaker of the ship. And he died aboard the ship on Thanksgiving Day of 1999. Wow. So within a weekend, it all just kind of meshed together. But yeah, we did get cold spots. Absolutely.
I love when you get validation like that.
Yeah. It was amazing.
That to me is what ghost hunting should all be about, paranormal investigation.
Right. Yeah.
Now, my buddy Chuck, and by the way, I can't wait, Chuck, till It gets a little bit warmer, and we're all on the beach drumming together. He writes, curious if you would get any reaction if you used a boatswain call during an investigation that's always gained the attention of the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that, Chuck, because we have actually done that with a bosun's pipe, and you'll use it, but nothing. We've never noticed anything with a bosun's pipe. When Ghost Asylum was there, they actually ran a fire drill, hoping that some of these guys would show up. Supposedly they did. Now Ghost Asylum was a TV show that was there a few years ago, and they tried things like that. But as far as the bosun's pipe, doesn't seem to churn up anything. And what's really strange is it's so random that it could happen anytime. Sometimes you stand there staring at the ceiling, and other times there's so many things going on that it's unbelievable. But it's just a few weeks ago, matter of fact, myself and Anne LaFave, we had a small group over there, and Anne had some of her instruments, and we're down in the 9/11 room, and it was very quiet. There was let me think, 5 other people that were there, and we run across something, Tim, that I've never run across before, and this was something that did not want us there. Now Now we've got Paul and his gang. We know who these people are. But this thing was something passing through. It was just there temporary, and whatever it was, it made us known that it did not want us in that room. So as a matter of fact, the people that were going to spend the night on the ship left because they wouldn't spend the night on the ship after that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I mean, that's typical, because I've been in places where it's like, real happy and friendly.
Yeah,
and then there's
yeah.
sometimes that you just know,
Right.
and you get that feeling. And
Yes.
it's almost like, it's like the best way is like the barometric pressure is starting to change.
Exactly.
Yeah. It gets more like electrically,
It does.
that's the best way.
Yes.
Is there, here's my question. Is there a better time of the year to be on board that ship to witness phenomena, because of the fact that like here in Western New York, we have the Sullivans and the Little Rock at our naval park. And it seems like in the late fall, or I should say early fall and late winter, or late spring, that's what it is, late spring, early fall. It seems that it's more active than anywhere else or any other time during the year.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's usually warmer outside, because like I say, in the middle of summertime, it gets pretty warm inside that thing. But typically, it's usually spring, and fall is probably about the best time to be in there. And it's kind of strange you said, because actually there's even, as far as time-wise, when you want to be in there. And things tend to happen there, usually what they call the witching hour. And it's usually around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know why that is, but it just happens.
All I know is when I saw Paul, it wasn't 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It was still light outside. I'll never forget that.
Well, he must have took a real liking to you, Tim, because it don't usually happen.
I'm going to tell you, Bill, I'm going to tell you something. I don't normally wear Depends, but the next time I come on board, yes, because I just threw my underwear out after that one, because that was an amazing. I'm telling you, that was an amazing experience.
Well, it was amazing for the rest of us that were there too. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was cool. It's like I say, a lot of times, I mean, you get, as you know, you get nothing. You're just basically sitting in a dark room, but there are those magical times that things happen. And you say, is this really going on? Is this happening? I even to this very day, Tim, I still question some of the things that go on, because you try to prove that things don't happen naturally.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just really weird.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Now okay, wait a minute. Ariana Chen asks, do you think that they react more to men or to women? Or do they react more to men than women?
No, they react more to women for some strange reason. Now, this is kind of the story got. Matter of fact, you were there when we found out with the Ouija board what the 3 mean girls. You remember the 3 mean girls?
Yes.
We found out that one's name was Margie or Margaret, and the other one was Kit. The third one we didn't find out, but they say that there's 3 mean girls there, and they don't like other women. Now, I don't know where these girls came from. I couldn't tell you on a combat ship, but there's three girls, and they'll pull hair.
Hey, shore leave. Telling you, where's Christopher? We didn't bring anybody on board. No, we didn't.
That's right. exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know where they would have come from, but I don't know. I guess I could ask you this. Do you think that maybe entities pass through there at certain
Oh yeah,
times? Okay, well, maybe
definitely.
that's what it is.
I definitely think so.
Yeah,
And and it's I've found that it's not always the same entities that
right.
you have a couple that kind of stick around that may want to
Exactly.
because of the location,
Yeah,
but I found that there's a lot of them that are passing through,
right.
or they actually come with the people who are on board.
Oh, I never thought of that. True.
Because
Yeah,
a lot of times we get recordings, and you sit there and you think to yourself, this is not in the historic timeline.
right.
I don't understand where this name comes from.
Yeah,
Then you have to think to yourself, do you think that these people may have brought these vibrational entities with them, and now
yeah.
they're kind of piggybacking in because it's easier to, you know,
They
get
could
some
be.
kind of
Yeah,
recording or make
yeah,
make contact.
yeah,
So yeah, that's basically what I've found. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
when
That's
it's a crapshoot, because sometimes you just don't know.
no,
uh
no,
because
no.
I always remember the great occultist, the late Ray Buckland, who brought organized like witchcraft here to the U.S. And
Yeah,
he always said, you never know who you're really talking to, so you have to ask the same question disguised 3 different ways and if you get the same answer, well,
yeah.
then there's a good chance you're talking to whoever it is.
Right, right.
But if it's not, you get a little bit,
Yeah. Well,
choppy answers. That's the way it
yeah,
works.
you had made mention that they like to lie a lot too. So, you know, so who knows? Yeah,
Well, that's, Bill, that's the biggest problem that I have with like historic sites,
yeah,
because we have the history. Okay, here's the history laid right out. Now, it's not always perfect, but this is pretty much what it is.
right,
Uh, and then all of a sudden, people are getting all this crazy stuff, and they're not double checking it. They're not checking the history. They're not questioning,
right.
let's say, the spirits that are bringing it through.
Sure.
And what happens is sometimes it becomes part of the urban legend then. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is disseminating the wrong information or an opinion
Right.
without stating that that's an
Sure.
opinion.
Sure.
And that will screw up the whole historical timeline. Although
Yeah.
I will tell you, it's great for the site because it makes it spookier than it
Yeah.
really is. It
Yeah.
makes it sound
Yeah.
spookier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be anything. It could
Right.
be, you have to be so very, very careful with it.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
as
wait
you
a minute.
know, I mean, even people that do that, they come away with their own stories.
Oh
Which
yeah. Oh
continues
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Oh, Christopher writes, water, history, trauma, and a metal superstructure, a perfect paranormal storm. And I
Storm.
agree there.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
because because a lot of times people always go and say, gee, it's the geology of the location, it's made out of these limestone and wood, but people don't realize the strength of iron and the strength
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
steel and
Yeah.
how it holds it. Because again, my voodoo buddies, which I'll introduce you to sometime. Well,
Okay.
I'll introduce you. They're great. You'd love them.
Okay.
But when they do their whatever they do, the hoodoo that we do
Yes.
so
Do so
well,
well. Yeah. Right.
uh, they use iron. They use nails. They use horseshoes. They use iron, and
Okay.
that goes and fortifies
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
spell. And shh, Bill, don't tell anybody. Don't tell my neighbors. I have blessed iron railroad spikes on the 4 corners of my
Corners of your
house to
house.
keep
Yeah.
to keep it protected.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's all part
Yeah.
of it. And I believe
Yeah.
that these ships are so self-contained. They hold the vibration, and I think it really is. It's tough
Yeah.
for them
Yeah.
to leave. And
Yeah.
let's face it, Bill. Yourself. Most sailors will say the same thing. They usually say one of 2 things. Either they hated their whole time on board a ship,
Right.
or it was the greatest experience of their
Yes.
lives,
Yeah.
and it was so exciting to them.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I did. Like I said, I wouldn't take $1,000,000 for it, Tim, because it was fantastic when I was there. I was there for 6 years, and for a young 18-year-old person to go around the world and see the things that I'd seen, and probably do some of the things I'd probably be arrested for now.
Bill, I never
Yeah.
expected that to come out of your mouth. I'm going to tell you what, you just threw me a
Hey,
curveball on that one. Now
Hey, Tim.
I can't even see
Yeah.
the screen. My eyes are, I'm crying
Yeah.
so hard on that
Yeah.
one.
You want to keep that on the down low. And I said that in front of Foresight, so I'm not, yeah, I'm screwed anyway. So, yeah. But you know what's really strange? You say that with the iron. What's really, really weird is what happens in there sometimes when there's a thunderstorm. It's amazing. Yeah. The energy that you can feel. What happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, you don't want to be anywhere where that lightning is going to strike.
No.
And
No.
you know yourself, you're on board a ship. It is almost impossible to get away from that.
It is.
And
It is. Yeah.
and
Yep.
my buddy Chuck is, thank you for your service, sir.
You're very, very welcome, Chuck. Thank you for your support.
Chuck is, I'm telling you, Chuck's my buddy. He served in Desert Storm. He's a great, and he's a great guy. And again, he's one of the, you know, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little picky about my friends. You know what I mean? And he passed muster on this one. Let me tell
you.
You.
Okay, good.
Chuck has passed muster.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's good to hear that. Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
You know what? This has been a quick hour. So, but I want to make sure now we get to, there's a couple points I do want to hit. Okay. And if we go over a little bit that we can do that. That's because why? I can.
Because we can. And we're retired, you know.
Yeah, well, excuse me on that one.
Yeah,
if I could lift my feet up high enough, I'd show you.
I know.
Else. But I got to ask you about 9/11. Now, what was so important about the Edson and 9/11? Because there is a room that you guys called 9/11.
9/11. Okay, and the reason I got that name for that particular room is when the Edson was a museum ship in Manhattan. It was there on 9/11 when the World Trade Centers were hit by those planes and they went down. She was only about 6 blocks away. So what they did is, if you can remember what happened at that time, all communication ceased. You couldn't use a cell phone. You couldn't use anything. Everything just kind of died. And what they did is the FBI and the Navy and the city of New York went onto the Edson and stripped out one of the berthing areas, the living quarters, and they built some tables that were in there. And they had things like radios and computers, fax machines, stuff like that, because they used the mast on the radio mast on the ship as a radio tower, and they did it for 3 weeks. So that room is designated as a command cell. It's even on the door down there, and that's why they call it the 9/11. So there is actually dust on this ship from the World Trade Centers.
That to me was when you told me that. I remember we were doing the preliminary walkthrough.
Right.
I remember when you told me that just I think my jaw dropped. I think I really, because that was just amazing to even think about what it experienced. First of all, experienced so much in Vietnam. Yeah. And there it is as a museum ship.
Yeah. And experiences that.
Yeah. I mean, and to be reused in that manner, you know, under emergency situation, this whole thing that happened. It's just, to me, it's mind-boggling.
Oh, now, it is.
I got to ask you, what are some of the programs you guys do on board the ship? Because, you know, I love the fact that these museums are not just like stagnant museums. You know, people walk through. You remember what it was like back in the day, because we're about the same age, going on a field trip, going, "Oh, this is a wonderful thing." You know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I know. But, I mean, but we try to be interactive with the community. Matter of fact, the 9/11 room. Here's another thing about the 9/11 room. We have one of our volunteers there is actually a retired history professor. So if there are kids in the local area, say high school kids that are studying the Vietnam War in, say, a history class, they come there for a hands-on approach, and this professor will teach a history class there. So we have all kinds of stuff like that.
That's amazing. But see, that's what kids will understand and they remember.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why it becomes almost 3D. Yeah. Now you guys are not only do paranormal investigations, which I love, and you guys can, all you have to do is we have the website floating down below beautiful Bill.
Right.
And or should I just call him Barnacle Bill? I don't know.
I'll answer just about anything, Tim.
I'll ask Christopher if he.
No, you don't need to ask. No, ask Chris.
No, okay. But you guys also have another fundraiser. You guys do what, a haunting or something? Or
well, yeah, during the month of October, it's actually late September to I think it's the first week of November. Every weekend, they have a Halloween ship, and they set the ship up to tour through the ship by yourself, and it's set for Halloween. And what they do is they take theatrical fog, and they fog almost the entire inside of the ship. So if somebody gets 3 foot away from you, they just kind of just disappear. And naturally, there are props, there's strobe lights and lasers, and there's actors dressed up actors all over the place. And it's a ride to go through. It takes about 20 minutes because they go through all 5 levels of the ship, and they give you a little tiny flashlight to go through because there are no lights on. So it's really, really cool. And we always say, well, if you come there, we'll just kind of scare the shit out of you. So.
and let me tell you something. I don't really think it's a fog machine.
Yeah,
I think it's Chris. I think it's Chris Forsyth, and I think he had Mexican.
Yeah.
On weekends he has Mexican,
yep.
And
well, you can tell when he's nearby. Yeah, we've had like Chris says there. We've had weddings, we've had parties, we've had reunions, we've had 5 weddings on board the ship already, and of course our regular overnight visits. So we have Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, which are like trying to herd cats, but we do have those guys. But yeah, we always typically, I tell you what, this year we have almost every weekend booked now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about so many of the historic sites. The place that I'm volunteering at, they shut down last year, and they were really going to go in the red until some paranormal people got together and raised money.
Right.
I am so thrilled to hear that the ship is doing so well, and you guys are really revitalizing everything that's going on and bouncing back from the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, usually during the week, I'm working on the ship doing something, painting. Well, you've seen the pictures,
right?
Painting or fixing something. In the weekends, I'm usually giving tours. Saturday, I got on the ship about 9 a.m. and I didn't walk off till 5:30 in the afternoon because there was that many people that were there.
Wow,
unbelievable! Yeah,
I think that's great. I think it's a wonderful thing, and it is beautiful. And I have to attest to it. I really. It's got my heart. It's got my heart.
You got to come back. You got to come back to him. And I want to tell you guys.
I think my underwear is still someplace on board there, by the way.
Don't even say things like that. Don't say stuff like that. I don't hear that. Well, I'm going to tell you what, Tim. All these people that are going to go to my Paracon, okay, and say if you fly in Detroit, you're going to have to drive right by the Edson, and we're only about 10 minutes right off the expressway.
Right.
So if you want to come over for a visit, that would be fantastic. I would love to take you through the ship. It'd be fantastic, and you're all invited to do so if you like.
It's wonderful. Yeah. How can people get a hold of you guys?
Well, we have a Facebook page, and we have, like you say, the website there, and we have if you search for Saginaw Valley Naval Ship Museum, that's what it's called. They also have a website and a Facebook page, so they have phone numbers on there. Just give us a call. Just let us know you're coming, and that way I can be available. Because I'm usually there all the time.
It's awesome. It's just awesome. It's just an awesome. Now, Bill, I'm going to thank you so much. For stopping by. It was so much. I love. You know what, Bill? It's so fun. It's so much fun when we get a chance to talk.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell everybody, Bill. They didn't tell me Bill was coming to the Sault Ste. Marie Paracon, and I'm at my table being me, and all of a sudden this guy walks up. And I'm like this. Yeah. Bill.
Yeah.
I always remember. I was like, what was that, Bill? Is that you?
What's he doing here? Yeah. Yeah.
You're not supposed to be up here. You're supposed to be back down there.
I got to tell you though, Tim, if you guys are up there in August, I am definitely going to stop by to see you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Absolutely. We're going to be up there. And I don't know who else is going to be up there really this year, but it's going to be quite a few people, and it'll be like it's going to be a scary reunion. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, I know. I'm so looking forward to it, Tim. It's unbelievable. And Forsyth told me that now that I'm on your show, I can sell T-shirts up there. So I don't have any T-shirts. So who
Just
knows?
go in your drawer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of T-shirt you have.
Yeah,
Just go
exactly.
and sell.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
can have an Acme T-shirt.
Yep.
People will
Yeah.
buy that up there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just say
Well,
it came from a haunted site. You're good.
yeah, I would like to get someone like, well, even your little sister Marla, you know, and I've invited her over to ship. I'd love to get her over there and take her to the ship, you know. But it's a good time.
The only problem with Marla is she's got a bouffant that comes
Yeah.
up about 6 feet, so she'd have
Well,
trouble, and she's only about 4 feet tall, so
you
she'd
take the
have
head
trouble. Like,
flippers and just
yeah, you'd have to do something because she would just keep knocking her head.
yeah.
Marla
Exactly.
will kill me later on.
I'm sure I'll hear it.
I'll get the call.
That's right.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm that short, am I?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, Bill, I want you to hang on a couple of minutes when I do
Okay.
my outro and closing. But I really want, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely, Tim.
I
It's
love it.
fantastic to see you.
And guys, really, seriously, you guys got to really go there because I impressed the hell out of me. I'm just going to tell you, it impressed the hell out of me. And I've wanted to come back in the Marla just wrote, "Watch it, Tim."
Yeah.
But it's just such a great site. It really is.
Yeah.
And Bill will be up there, and you don't need anybody else. Bill will be there.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Absolutely.
And, so stay right there, Bill. Don't run away. And I want to thank you off the air.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You're just like you're one of my heroes now. Just let you know.
Tim. I appreciate it.
You're my hero because you put up with Christopher, but that's another story. See you in a few.
All right. Okay. Will do.
And I want to thank everybody for spending your Tuesday night here with me. And Bill is a great guy, isn't he? Fantastic. I love him to death. And the USS Edson, I got to tell you what, I told you guys before, it was a peak experience for me. I never expected it. I thought it was going to be another, you get a little jaded. It's going to be another gig. And I saw that. And I just blew me away. And I want to thank everybody. By the way, I still want to thank everybody for sending out all those healing energies to so many people that are out there. We may be having another healing service next week. I'll see how my schedule is, but just to let you know, it's working. Those energies are working. So many of the people that we sent it out to were in tough shape, and they're coming around. So I want to thank you for all of that. And so anyway, guys, as we go and we're getting ready to leave and everybody's getting ready to hang out, I want to everybody to think about just one thing. It doesn't take, a lot of time to volunteer. You can do an hour, you can do 2 hours, you can do a day. That's all it takes. Sit down, think about if you have enough time to dedicate just a short amount of minutes or an hour or whatever, and think about what you might want to do, because everybody's in need, especially at this time. And help is so appreciated. And I know the historic sites are big time like that. You've got kitchens, you've got food pantries, you have so many different places in need right now. So think about that. So anyway, this is Tim Shaw, and we're saying good night from where? The Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next week, Tuesday, because why? I don't know. We're just hanging out. Ciao, babies. Have a good one. Bye-bye.